In solo leveling, reports come in as multiple cities across Japan are freed from the devastation caused by the giants. Matsumoto, in disbelief, wonders how this is possible, recalling how Goto had been right when he first noticed Jin's eyes at the airport. Among all the hunters he's encountered, Jin is far and away the most formidable. Matsumoto introduces himself and quickly gets to the point, informing Jin that the giants are advancing toward Osaka and that the city should be Jin's priority. A translator relays the message as Matsumoto believes that no matter how powerful Jin may be, he can't possibly defeat all the giants by himself. He suggests they coordinate with other countries while Jin holds off the giants. To everyone's surprise, Jin declines the proposal. Matsumoto, now curious, asks what Jin intends to do instead. It soon dawns on him that Jin plans to face all the giants on his own. Back in present, Jin observes the defeated giants and wonders what to name them. He decides to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, with the one Baru just defeated being number 6. The Shadow Monarch instructs Jin-Ho to get ready without him, as Jin plans to use Shadow Exchange to travel around and create more soldiers. Jin realizes that while things have been relatively easy up until now, this is only the beginning. As the Shadow Soldiers spread throughout Japan, they assist the hunters in taking down the giants. With Jin's plentiful mana, a prolonged battle is no issue. The giants, exhausted and outmatched, stand no chance against Jin's undead army. However, the situation becomes more dire as additional dungeon breaks occur throughout Japan due to the S-rank dungeon break. Lower-tier monsters join forces with the giants, overwhelming the cities and requiring simultaneous evacuation and subjugation. On the 7th night of the dungeon break, Jin-Woo and his vice guildmaster walk through the ravaged city, taking in the destruction. Their attention is drawn to Hanakawa, who asks about the other hunters in the area. Hanakawa informs Jin that there are no other hunters in Tokyo except her. She adds that the total casualties haven't been tallied yet, and the giants have dispersed across Japan. It's revealed that 16 S-rank hunters have been sent to Japan, 6 Japanese, 2 Chinese, 3 Canadian, 2 Indian, 1 Russian, and 1 from the UK, grouped into 6 teams. Among the fallen are Yuri Orlov from Russia, Hanzawa Kuki from the Black Hole Guild, and Canada's Lucas Hoyle. With most of the giants working together in packs, the battles have been far more challenging than dealing with an A-rank gate boss. Jin suspects many A-rank hunters have been killed, as 3 S-rank hunters fell to a total of 31 giants, one of which is now crossing the sea to China. Japan's defense is stretched thin, but thanks to Jin-Woo, most of the giants have already been defeated. The remaining giants are being handled by the Shadow Army and the remaining hunters. Jin-Woo concludes that it's now up to him to deal with the rest. Jin-Woo observes the shattered cityscape, and a strange sense of familiarity washes over him. Though the place isn't consumed by flames, the destruction reminds him of the demon castle. He begins to wonder if that place was more than just a dungeon. Perhaps a message left behind by the system. Jin-Woo reflects on what the architect might have been trying to convey. But the architect is gone now, and there hasn't been any sign of him since. That must have truly been his real body that Jin-Woo destroyed. Even if the demon castle was a warning of what's to come, Jin-Woo is determined to prevent that future. He turns and calmly tells her that everyone is already here and it's time to begin. Hanakawa looks around in confusion. There aren't any other hunters nearby, so she questions what he means. Jin-Woo simply repeats himself. Everyone is already present. Meanwhile, Kanai drops to the ground with a frustrated sigh. Minoru attempts to reassure her, saying that even if it's irritating, everything has been taken care of, which is ultimately a good thing. Kanai nods in reluctant agreement, but still feels annoyed. She thinks about how no one seems to care about the giants they struggle to defeat. And now the others have already headed for Tokyo, leaving the wounded giants behind. It's as if they expect her and Minoru to deal with the leftovers. She mutters about how troublesome the summons are, calling them a headache. Back in Tokyo, Jin-Woo's army of shadows stands prepared across the city. Hanakawa scans the area, noticing stronger summons stationed toward the rear, with a sea of weaker ones encircling them. Suddenly, the generals kneel as Baru descends from the sky, slamming into the ground behind Jin-Woo with dramatic force. Jin Woo greets his loyal ant general and commends all his troops for their efforts. He then instructs Jin Ho to escort Hanakawa to a safer location. With the battlefield set, Jin Woo calls out to the enemy, and from the distance, a line of massive giants emerges. Raising his arm, Jin Woo summons his forces once again. With a powerful command, he sends them charging forward. Baru unleashes a sharp screech as the entire Shadow Army charges forward, engulfing the city like a black wave. The Legion rushes toward the enormous giant ahead, but just as they get close, a dangerous gleam flashes in the giant's eyes, a sign that puts Jin Woo on edge. In the blink of an eye, the giant vanishes and reappears within the army, tearing through the shadows with a single, devastating swing. Jin Woo is shocked by the sheer force, as the attack wipes out more than 100 of his soldiers instantly. The creature is massive beyond belief, and the overwhelming pressure it gives off stirs an unfamiliar urge in Jin, the urge to retreat. He finds it hard to believe that such a being exists. It's unsettling, even for him. Jin reminds himself that when something disturbs you, you either escape it and pretend it doesn't exist, or you eliminate it completely. As a shadow giant tries to strike from behind, the Colossus raises its hand to block a fireball from Tusk, then slices both attackers in two with frightening speed. Beru's swarm of ants attacks its feet, biting and clawing, but the monster shakes them off with a thunderous kick. Just as Beru gets ready to retaliate, Jin Woo lifts his hand to stop him. "Not yet," he says. "Everything is still going according to plan." Jin still has mana to burn, and he needs to keep pressing the enemy to uncover any potential weak points. As more shadows fall, his energy continues to drain. Even Jima and another shadow giant are destroyed. Jin begins to notice a pattern. The monster doesn't block because its body is constantly protected by a layer of mana, like an invisible armor. Still, he recalls one instance where an attack made it through. Summoning Kaisel, Jin Woo rallies his top generals for an all-out assault. Baru charges in first, but bounces off the mana shield upon contact. Kaisel flies in next, while Igris charges his weapon with energy, unleashing a lightning-infused strike. The giant narrowly dodges and counters with a brutal swing, slicing down the wyvern climbing along its arm. But then something changes. The monster flinches as Igris lands another hit. It raises its hand to block, but the intense brightness of the lightning gives Jin the perfect opportunity. He dives in and slashes at the giant's right eye, damaging it and confirming his suspicion. The mana armor doesn't protect its eyes. Baru swoops in immediately after, slashing across the giant's face. At the same moment, Jin Woo activates Ruler's authority, summoning a storm of daggers, and launches into a fierce assault. As the giant roars and thrashes, Hanakawa watches in stunned silence. This is no longer a battle between a hunter and a beast. It's a war between monsters. Jin Ho looks on with pride as Jin Woo tears into the giant's face, relentlessly using Mutilate to destroy the creature's eye. Blood explodes outward, and the giant howls in agony. Jin calls to Baru, who dives into the wounded eye socket and begins shredding it from the inside. While Baru wreaks havoc internally, Jin continues his assault on the outside. The giant, its face torn apart and blood pouring from its mouth, collapses to its knees. A system message flashes before Jin. The enemy has been defeated. A system notification confirms the victory. Along with it, he levels up several times. As he stands atop a nearby building, Jin Woo notices something odd about the message. It simply says he has defeated the enemy. He mutters to himself that it should have specified, "You have defeated the boss of the giants." More importantly, the usual message, "You have killed the dungeon boss," never shows up. That means the raid isn't finished. As expected, there's no black mist rising from the corpse, which means Jin can't extract a shadow from it either. Suddenly, something shifts. Something strange grabs his attention. Jin Woo quickly materializes a dagger and signals to Jin Ho to stay back. Then, unexpectedly, a voice emerges from the giant's mouth. "My king," it says. Jin Woo tenses, but then realizes it's just Baru announcing his presence. The Shadow Monarch notes how powerful the remaining magic is, so intense that it managed to conceal Baru's aura, even from him. Then, without warning, the gate begins to tremble violently. Jin Woo is immediately on alert, as a fierce storm of magical energy explodes outward. He quickly checks on Jin-Ho's safety and is relieved to find him unharmed. Shifting his focus back to the gate, Jin notices something strange. It's pulling in the dead giant's magical energy, and a glowing fissure forms across the surface. He's stunned. Magical power has never been strong enough to tear open a gate like this before. Realizing he needs to get to the bottom of this, Jin instructs Jin-Ho to stay behind while he goes in to investigate. Leaping through the gate, Jin-Woo finds himself in a vast chamber. It makes sense. Giants of that size would need a space this large to travel through. Baru then asks if his master can hear something strange, and Jin confirms it. A dark, eerie laughter echoing through the hall. Sarcastically, Jin-Woo wonders aloud if the idea of someone breaking into this place is really that amusing. The laughter intensifies. Hilarious! Hilarious! You loathsome rulers! Witness who has found me first. Welcome, monarch! Booms a voice from deeper within. There, chained and bound, stands a massive creature, a terrifying figure imprisoned in the darkness. Jin-Woo wonders if this is the true final boss of the dungeon, but instead of answering, the creature pleads for freedom, claiming it knows what the rulers are plotting and warns that the other monarchs are likely aware of it by now. But nothing changes. The creature's tone shifts, realizing Jin-Woo is not the person it thought he was. Jin asks directly if the rulers are responsible for its imprisonment. The being confirms. Yes, they bound him, using him as a stepping stone for a larger war that is about to begin. Jin reflects on past attempts to communicate with intelligent monsters. None ever gave a clear explanation of their origins. When he questions who the rulers are, the creature explains. They are ancient enemies of the monarchs. Knowing that he himself has now become a monarch, Jin-Woo asks if that makes the rulers his enemies too. And judging by how this being is shackled, there's little doubt left. This creature must be a monarch as well. He warns Jin-Woo that both the monarchs and the rulers are likely setting their sights on him. In his current condition, Jin doesn't have the strength to take them all on and will eventually need allies to stand a chance. The imprisoned entity urges Jin to break his seal, promising his aid in the battles to come. Doubtful, Jin asks if he's really supposed to trust a monster claiming to help a human. In response, the creature confidently declares that he'll make Jin believe him. He begins to recite a strange chant, prompting Jin to ready his dagger, prepared for any trickery. Just then, the system sends a message. The king of giants, Regia, has activated a skill called Pledge of Truth. This ability makes it so neither the one who casts it, nor the one who agrees to it, can speak any lies. After a moment of thought, Jin accepts the pact, activating the restriction for both of them. Regia once again pleads to be freed, assuring Jin-Woo that he truly intends to help him. Jin, still sarcastic, says, "Sure, I totally believe that. Why?" But to his confusion, his thoughts go blank. Regia calmly explains that this mental block is due to the Pledge of Truth, a curse that ensures no falsehoods can be spoken or entertained. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Jin starts to wonder, how can Regia, a so-called monster, speak so clearly and rationally, unlike the mindless creatures that typically emerge from gates? He voices this concern, and Regia answers that those monsters are beings from the Chaos Realm. Regia then turns the question around, asking how Jin could even think to compare those chaotic creatures to the monarchs, the ones who command and rule over them. He reveals that the monsters crawling out of the gates are merely leftovers, remnants of fallen armies who lost to the forces of the rulers. These defeated beings have been imprisoned and used for so long that their sense of self has faded entirely. But unlike them, Regia proclaims himself a true monarch, one who has preserved his mind and waited endlessly for a chance to escape the shackles placed on him by the rulers. Jin asks if these rulers are the winged soldiers clad in silver armor. Regia confirms it. Those radiant warriors serve the rulers. Jin then questions why, if the rulers are so powerful, they continue to unleash wave after wave of monsters onto Earth. Regia only responds with a knowing grin. His silence speaks volumes. Regia explains that it's all part of a grand strategy. The rulers are preparing for a colossal war and plan to turn Jin's world into a battlefield where they can clash once again with the monarchs. Perplexed, Jin asks how sending monsters to Earth helps create a battlefield. Regia responds simply, The goal is to infuse this world with magical energy. While monsters were seen as disasters emerging from the gates, the energy they brought was seen as a gift. Hunters and civilians alike placed immense value on magic crystals and stones, viewing them as limitless energy sources. But in truth, they were just stepping stones for war. Regia elaborates that the most effective way to create power in a powerless world is by spilling the blood of those who already have it. The rulers used their captives to spread magical energy, steadily increasing its density day by day. This power was the result of spilled blood, and it's now strengthening the world, preparing it to endure a war between the monarchs and the rulers. When Jin asks if that war truly means another clash between the two sides, Regia confirms it. He warns that Earth will soon be engulfed in conflict, turning into a living nightmare. Time is short. Now that Jin has made contact with a monarch, both factions will likely move quickly. In fact, the rulers may have already begun to act, given that Jin is now on their radar. Jin asks why he's being targeted. Regia reveals a shocking truth. The power Jin holds isn't truly his. Its presence within him proves that the original owner, a monarch, betrayed their kind. As a result, Jin is now seen as a threat by both sides. Regia vows to fight alongside him and offers his support. However, Jin considers another option. What if he simply turns Regia into a shadow soldier? This clearly alarms the giant monarch. He explains that monarchs and rulers possess spiritual bodies. Once they're destroyed, they vanish completely, making them incapable of becoming shadows. Regia pleads once again for Jin to break the seal and set him free. Although Jin understands, he remains uneasy. He steps closer, blade in hand. Regia grows more desperate, urging him to act. Jin asks again, "Are you truly on my side?" Regia swears loyalty, claiming that if Jin helps him, he'll return the favor. It's a fair, binding deal between monarchs. Still suspicious, Jin breaks a second chain, but briefly sees something shift in Regia's expression. He suddenly asks, "Are you on humanity's side?" Regia remains silent. Jin presses further, wondering if it's the pledge of honesty holding him back. Jin then points out the mana crystal in Regia's neck, the same type used to control monsters. As long as it remains, he's compelled to obey the ruler's command, eliminate all humans. Regia, enraged, lunges at Jin, but Jin swiftly dodges, declaring the deal void. Regia is too dangerous to let live. Without hesitation, Jin stabs the monarch in the chest. Regia scoffs, claiming Jin is mistaken. The true calamity isn't him, it's Sung Jin Woo. Tossing Jin an eyeball, Regia suddenly attempts to crush Jin's skull with his teeth, but Jin ducks and strikes again. The monarch retaliates, but Jin dodges and counters with relentless stabs. Wounded and fading, Regia delivers one final warning. Battles between Earth's defenders and Chaos denizens will escalate. He curses Jin, wishing for everything he cherishes to be consumed by the fires of war. But Jin calmly rebuffs the threat, and in one swift motion decapitates the giant monarch. The system confirms the victory. Jin Woo has defeated Regia, the monarch of the beginning, one of the 9 monarchs. Due to the enormous experience gained, leveling up takes extra time. Though disappointed he couldn't turn Regia into a shadow, Jin accepts the magical item left behind. As the body dissolves, Jin rockets to level 122. Elsewhere in the United States, a helicopter lands near a large mansion. 2 individuals step out and approach the front doors. Inside, national-level hunter Christopher Reed greets them, surprised to see Deputy Director and Lady Selner. He didn't expect any visitors. Lady Selner requests privacy, asking everyone else to leave the room. Once alone, Christopher assumes this is about the East Coast's massive S-rank gate, and immediately refuses to get involved. But Lady Selner clarifies that their visit is about something even more urgent. She stares at him and calmly says, "Mr. Christopher, your life may soon be in danger." And just like that, the tension escalates, setting the stage for new arc.